Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Kapila is further continuing to describe the miseries of a living entity when he is reborn in this material world again and again. So, here it is described, Krimibhihi Shata Sarva Angaha. In the womb of the mother, when all the different limbs of the child, they have become already developed. The child is also now able to perceive pain, pleasure. And we saw that according to the Vedic literature, the mother must follow certain rules and regulations of what should be eaten, what should not be eaten. If the mother is eating some pungent food, because the mother, her womb is connected to the child. The feeding is going from the mother to the child through the umbilical cord. So whatever the mother is eating, it affects the child also. So mother has to be cautious what she should eat, what she should not eat. That is what we saw. So if she is eating certain things which are pungent, it can affect the skin of the child, which is very tender. And the child will feel burning sensation, pain. Similarly, here it is described that when the child is in the womb of the mother and is already developed, then there are Krimibhihi who are very hungry, and they bite the tender skin of the child. So generally, we find, according to the modern science, the womb of the mother does not have generally the worms. So then how do we understand that the child is bitten by the worms? Just like there is description of hellish planet in the Vedic literature, in Bhagavatam we saw different kinds of hells are there. Tamishra, Andha Tamishra. And the living entity goes and suffers in those hellish planets. But it is not that every living entity goes to the hell. Somebody who has performed pious activities, he does not even have to go to the hell at all. He does not have to suffer that kind of different punishments. It is just like we are all staying in a state and there is criminal department and there are jail. So it's not that everybody has to go and experience jail. Any of us have gone? Anybody was put behind the bars? No one, right? So it's not that everybody has to experience. Similarly, if we see these chapters, before this, Lord Kapila was describing about a person who is sinful, who is committing varieties of sinful activities, not bothered about the rules and regulations, dharma, not following the principles of dharma. He is maintaining his family, but illegally, doing activities which are not supposed to be done. Such a living entity is described that he is taken to hellish life by Yamadutas and he has to suffer. Not only there, then he is given lower births in demoniac species of life. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, that such kind of people who are envious, I throw them into the lower species of life, Asuri species of life, Asuri Yoni, practically eternally. Krishna says that. That means birth after birth, they are born in lower species of life. So that is for that class of people. It is not for everyone. Those who surrender to the Lord, there is a different treatment. Just like even in the state we are living, there are different facilities which are enjoyed. The normal citizen, they enjoy a different kind of facility. And prisoners, they enjoy different kind of facility. There everything is restricted. So, this misery of being bitten by worms, it may not have to be faced by every living entity. It is not that the devotee, let us say a great devotee is to be born, Prahlad Maharaj, and then he is also bitten by worms in the womb of the mother. It's not true. So, science does say that yes, in many cases, there are worms in the womb of the mother. And the worms from the womb of the mother can pass to the intestine of the child also. That is also there. And then there are many kinds of bacteria and many other kind of microorganisms which may grow in the womb of the mother if she has not taken proper care. And then the child has to suffer. So, such a sinful person, this is how he has to undergo this kind of terrible pain right from the beginning of his birth. So Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that actually the miseries of birth The miserable condition of material existence is not only felt when we come out of the womb of the mother, but is also present within the womb. Miserable life begins from the moment the living entity begins to contact his material body. So this is the whole essence. Actually, the living entity is Sat Chit Ananda. He is eternal. He has no birth, but he is made to take birth because of his misuse of freedom. Just like we are all supposed to be free, most of us. But if we misuse our independence in the state, and if we break the laws of government, then some of us will be imprisoned, sent to a certain place where our life will be miserable. Otherwise, we are supposed to be free. We are not supposed to be in the prison house. Similarly, the living entity constitutionally is Sat. Sat means eternal. It has no birth, it has no death. But we are made to experience this birth and death because of misuse of our freedom. When we don't obey the laws of God, then we are made to enter into this material world, repeated cycle of birth and death, many lives. Then again chance is given in human form of life of responsibility, that now you make use of your life. Act responsibly. Don't act like animals, only for sense gratification. That's why the Vedic literatures are saying, Uttishta, Jagrata, Nibodha. In human form of life, wake up. Uttishta, Jagrata. Get up. Why? Because human form of life is not meant for ignorance. Bodha means one should get enlightened. Athato Brahman Jignasa. Human form of life is meant for understanding about God. It is not meant for jignasa of this ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna. Only this jignasa, where to find food, where to find different kinds of material enjoyment. It is meant for higher inquiries. So, our different kinds of suffering begins with birth in this material world. The moment we contact this material body has birth and death, and we have to experience that birth and death. It is just like, suppose you sleep, and in the sleep you have a very deadly dream. Somebody is eating you up. Actually, nothing is happening to you. You experience someone eating you. You undergo that misery. And sometimes you are crying, even, you are shouting. And then somebody is thinking, what is this? What is happening to this person? He is sleeping and he is shouting. Because he is seeing a very horrible dream. It happened to me. Also, I remember in my childhood. And that was one of the important juncture of my life, which turned me towards spiritual life. 3 such incidents happened, one after another. So one was the passing away of my grandmother. from maternal side, my mother's side, that grandmother. So in our 2 months of holidays, I think I was somewhere in 10th or vaguely remember, I think it was in 10th or 11th, somewhere at that time. So we had gone for 2 months holidays, and my maternal uncle, he had gone to the field in the night for watering the crops and taking care. They used to go in the night, and so we were all only, and my mother had also gone because some important cutting was happening for that crop. So we only children were there in the house, and grandmother was there. Grandfather already, he had passed away earlier itself. So grandmother, in the night she developed a throbbing pain in the chest, and at least for half an hour she was wriggling in pain. So that was one of the sight which I can't forget. Even till today, I remember that. And how the life air passed out from the body. And I was able to see that. So that was one incident which made me to think, what is this life all about? Isn't it? Our near and dear ones, one day, we are so attached to them, one day they have to pass and leave this world like this. What is this meaning of this life? So little kind of detachment came from this materialistic way of life. That was the one incident. And after some time then, same, our daily activities started like this. One night, maybe after 5-6 months after this incident, I had a horrible dream in the night that someone is trying to pull out the soul from this body, my life from this body. Yeah, it was like that. Horrible experience. And my brother was sleeping right beside me, younger brother. So this, I think, around somewhere in 11th, this is when I was in first PUC, 11th. So I shouted loudly. And then my brother is afraid, what is happening to him? What happened? And he started beating my chest. So I said immediately, look down, somebody is there. Somebody was trying to kill me. And we saw nothing was there. So then I opened the door. There was a frog which got caught in that, beneath the, what do you call that, door. Sometime you will find, the frog is just sitting near the door. The moment you open, it gets pressed inside that. So that was another double horrible thing for me to see. Getting, practically crushed. So I lifted it, put it in a soup and threw it out. And to the amazement, actually it did not die. That was a great relief for me. But it left a kind of a, horrible experience with all these things. And then we used to have one pet in the house. My brother was, my elder brother used to take care of, we used to have a dog in the house, pet, small. And we were living in a defense campus. And generally what do they do? If there are more dogs, they will come and shoot. So I had gone for some kind of training to Chennai. That was, I think, after 12th. Some kind of training was there. And for 15-16 days. And when I came back, I learned that the dog was also shot down. So like this few experiences, horrible materialistic life, what are the pains we face in this material world. So, and in the meantime, I had somehow or other come in contact. During this time, it was the time when I started going and trying to find out the reality of life. Went to different ashram, read different books, and then by fortune, I came in touch with Krishna consciousness. So that is how it was. So, you can see that actually this miseries of birth and death, Prabhupada is saying, actually does not belong to the soul. See, here he is saying, within the womb, miserable life begins from the moment the living entity begins to contact his material body. This is what a devotee has to realize. Why he has to realize? He should lose all hopes that I can be happy in this material world with this material body. Bhagavatam says that. Padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. This is not a place for a devotee. This is not a place for a devotee. So devotee should not be, with this understanding like the karmis that somehow or other I will be able to enjoy this material world. So devotee is very pessimistic about material life, very optimistic about spiritual life. He is not pessimistic about life. This is a misunderstanding. He is not pessimistic about life. He is pessimistic about material life. Not interested in material life. Not that so many people, devotees have to understand and learn this. Sometimes devotees get bewildered. We go and meet some high class people, nice family, some 10 to 12 people, and all laughing nicely and having big building. Looks like, oh, I'm missing all this material enjoyment. Sometimes the devotee may think like this, isn't it? So until and unless the devotee loses the spirit of enjoyment, enjoying this material body, enjoying this material comforts of life, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya aprahata chetasam. Those who are bewildered by bhoga and aishwarya, samadhau na vidhiyate, they cannot progress in spiritual life. So, these descriptions are there so that at least we are not very inclined in material life. We don't have to undergo, because the moment you try to undergo, better is to hear and understand. You try to undergo, it is very difficult, you cannot escape. Maya's potency is so great that if you think, no, does not matter, let me experience, whole life will pass and you will be in illusion. Will not be able to understand realities of life. Isn't it? So, this all of us would have experienced. I remember sometimes, one woman came and met me, quite young. I think this was somewhere I used to sit in lecture hall in Bangalore. And the husband had passed away recently, say a month back or something. So I was also a little hesitant to talk that she will be in sorrow, all that. But while talking, I could make out within 1 month, all that is gone already. She has taken it for granted. Gone is gone, kya kare, what to be done. This is how Maya is. One day, whole night practically, she will be crying. Right? Relatives will cry, mother will cry, father will cry. second day, third day, after that, daily they will cry. Life takes its own turn, slowly we will forget. This is how nature of Maya is. Prabhupada is saying here, unfortunately we forget this experience. So just like in our daily life also we find, we forget this experience. Similarly, whatever miserable condition of life we had undergone right from the womb of the mother, we forget it, we don't remember. I was packed in the womb of the mother, I was not able to move my hands and legs. We don't remember any of those things, isn't it? So, we forget this experience and do not take the miseries of birth very seriously. But for devotees, it is important to understand them by hearing from the scriptures. We can understand. So Prabhupada is saying in Bhagavad Gita, therefore, specially mentioned, one should be very alert to understand specific difficulties of birth and death. See? Bhagavad Gita is saying, one should be, why this education is required? So that we can become alert in spiritual life. That is the whole idea. Not to scare us. But otherwise we have no idea. We are simply living our life. We are seeing my brother died, my father died, my mother died. We cry for some few days and then we go on usually just like this. Isn't it? It is called as Shamshan Vairagya. Shamshan Vairagya means you will find you are carrying your relative, somebody on the shoulder, and then you carry them to the burial ground. But after a few days you forget that experience. That time you feel, "Arey, what is this life? Ek din sab chala jayega, sab chhod ke jayega." Isn't it? That's only momentary. After that again you become involved in all temporary things only. So, those whose intelligence is sharp, at least they should be alert that actually there are miseries in birth, there are miseries in death, old age, disease. These three were already described by Lord Kapila earlier. How that sinful man, he suffers more. Devotee does not have to suffer like that. Krishna practically sees to it that his devotee does not have to suffer. Even though he may be in the material world, he is directly under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Name bhakta pranashyati. Krishna says that. So, otherwise, devotee have to realize and understand that these are the varieties of miseries we have to undergo. So, after describing in old age how that sinful living entity suffers, how he passes away from this world. So, death was described, old age was described, varieties of diseases before death were described by Lord Kapila. Now he is describing, do not think only those three are the phases of life. Right from birth, the living entity experiences misery. And what is to be realized is, this is because of the contact of living entity coming in touch with matter, with this material body. It is a characteristic of material body. You cannot make it immortal. Hiranyakashipu tried. He asked Brahma, make me immortal. Brahma said, my dear sir, even one day I have to die. How can I make you immortal? It's not possible. So today science, they are trying to make this body immortal. Some scientists, They have tried out. Keep my body safe, and when technology develops later on, you can revive me once again. Yeah, you will find. There were scientists like that, but later on, after so many years passed, then finally they burnt that body. So, it is foolishness. Vedic literatures are saying there is no need of trying to make this body be alive. You are already alive. Why you want to make this body alive? This is matter. Matter means it will perish one day. It undergoes 6 kinds of changes. That is a characteristic of matter. You cannot change that. What we can do is, we can get a different kind of body. By spiritual enlightenment, we can come in touch with spiritual body. Material body, you come in touch, miseries, birth, old age, disease, death. Spiritual body, you come in touch, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Characteristic of spiritual body is completely different. So what we have to do is, we have to choose which kind of body do I want. Do I want to be repeatedly born, again die, disease, old age, death? Even if I go to the planet of Brahma Loka, old age may not be there, but finally death is there. Disease may not be there like this, what we suffer here in this material world. It is Swarga Loka, filled with material comforts of life. But one day, even Brahma has to die. He cannot escape that. So this is what one should understand. So further we will see in the coming verses, if the living entity is fortunate, that means there are living entities who are unfortunate. They will not pray to the Lord. If living entity is fortunate, he prays to the Lord. And if he is fortunate, he remembers his 100 births in a flash. This is what I took birth. I went like this. I went to this womb. I went to this. I took this life. His past 100 lives he can remember. And he prays to the Lord. My dear Lord, this time, let this miserable condition be over. Let me come out of this womb. I am in a horrible place. Once I come out, I will definitely make a solution to this birth and death by becoming your devotee. But Maya is so strong. After he comes out, just like Bhakti Vinod Thakur has sung that song, Bhuliya Tumhare, right? Samsare Ashiya, Pe Nana Vidha Vyatha. So real miseries begin when we forget our relationship with the Supreme Lord and we try to enjoy this material world. So we'll stop with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.